It's at this time where I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's on my little mind today. First, I want to wish you, one and all, including our beloved Israel, a healthy, safe, and peaceful summer solstice. Because today, that's what it is. It's a summer solstice today. And may that healthy, safe, and peaceful summer continue well beyond today. So I got to tell you something in order to set the stage. You know, my wife loves globes. In fact, we have a globe in our house, a round one, a real globe. And wherever she goes, if she sees one, especially if the globe is made like with tiles, if you know what I mean, she enjoys coming up to those, spinning them and putting her finger where it stops and looking at the different countries. She loves that. I know a lot of kids like that too, but she loves it. So as a surprise, I searched the internet to see if I could find one at a reasonable price, a tile one. And sure enough, I found one, and it was listed as being one of the oldest available. So I bought it, thinking the history that it showed would be extremely fascinating for her. It came yesterday, and yes, it was very old. It was so old that it was flat. They didn't know the earth was round yet. Anyway, as for us Jews, our interest in the use of color goes back a long time. You know, the Sephardim have always used blue ribbon to bring good luck. And on the other hand, Ashkenazim have always used red ribbon to ensure a positive outcome. It's funny that they use red and blue. It's like the politicians today, right? Red and blue. Sephardim were blue, Ashkenazim were red. Anyway, during the past few weeks, our Torah readings talked about the many colors that were used to decorate the temporary sanctuary and the clothing of the Kohanim, the priests of Israel. In today's Torah reading, we are told about another color. And you know what it is. It's a unique color. There's only one way to make it. It's called Tallit. This particular shade of blue is really hard to produce exactly correctly as it's supposed to be. This color is so important that it is mentioned many times in the Tanakh, in our Jewish Bible. To be precise, 48 times. This word Techelet appears in the Tanakh 48 times. If you're repeating something that often, it must be important. Techelet is actually made from a dye that was used for various ritual garments, not just on the tzitzit, as you know it is, but our Torah portion calls it out for the tzitzit this week. The Techelet was the main color of both the ritual garments of the priests, the tabernacle, and the temple. But it was also the private ritual garments worn by the rest of the Jewish people. Ah, interesting. The ritual garments of the Jewish people were worn with this Techelet color. So one of the fringes that traditionally hang from the corners of everyday garments of all of us, of our Jewish people, took the color of Techelet to make sure that they would carry a bit of the priesthood with them. The priest would wear this color garment, all of them, and therefore we put it on the Techelet on one of the strands. See, you can see it. And after all, the Torah refers to us, the Jewish people, as Melechet Kohanim, a kingdom of priests. So we wear these to remind us of the priesthood that we're supposed to be representing. So I've been wearing a tallit with techelet thread for many years. It's called patil techelet, a thread of techelet. But you know I have, most of you who know me. Many of you don't even know before I had it, right? I may have come here with it. I don't remember. It'll be 30 years this next month. Next month, 30 years. So it represents the color of the sea and the sky. It also represents the color of a sapphire. But most importantly, the holy throne of glory upon which tradition teaches God sits. That's the color of that. So the dye from which this very special colors comes from something very interesting, but it's only from one source. You can't get it any other way. If you make it, if you're going to be doing counterfeit, it isn't exactly the same. It never is. But every one that comes from the source is exactly the same. And what is the source? It's not a kosher animal. It's a shellfish. It's a mollusk called the murex snail, Murex. And if you want to look it up after services or after Shabbos, you can look it up. You can ask Rabbi Google, and he'll show you a picture of a murex snail and the dye. Anyway, while it appears that only Bnei Yisrael wore tzitzit, nobody else did, on the garments that they wore, there is one more thing about this fringe that is interesting. Both in Bamidbar today, in today's Torah reading, and then again in Devarim later on in the next book of Torah, it requires that the fringes contain just a single thread of blue on each corner. Just a single thread, which is what we have here. According and who is required to wear these tzitzit? I'm going to tell you. It surprises some people. All must observe the law of tzitzit, according to Talmud Menachot. Talmud Menachot says, all must observe the law of tzitzit, including the Kohanim, the Leviim, all of Bnei Yisrael, in other words, all Jews, all converts to Judaism, women, and Jews who happen to be slaves. Did you hear me say what I said? The Talmud specifically calls for women to wear tzitzit. And before the Middle Ages, all Jewish women and men had these on the corners of all of their clothes that they would wear. It doesn't say a tallit, it says tzitzit. And they would wear it on all their corners of all their clothing. All of them, men, women, children, everybody. And rabbis would run around, according to the Talmud, and put it on for the women and tie them. Jewish law never forbade women from wearing tzitzit. Never. It's not anywhere to be found in Jewish law. It was societal norms that made it happen. It was Christians and Muslims during the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages were not so good for Jews. It wasn't good for anybody, but it really wasn't good for Jews. And from my perspective, I find it so beautiful and appropriate when I see an ever increasing number of women choosing to embrace the wearing of tzitzit. It's just beautiful to see. So let us get back to the color that is obviously missing from most talitot. I'm sure that most of you who are wearing a talit right now, except maybe Moshe Halevi, I think, has a blue thread, but most don't. So I'm asking why. How come we do not use that blue thread, since the Torah so clearly says to use it? It says it, what did I say, 48 times? The answer is basic is based on practicality. Judaism, if Judaism is one thing, it is practical. A lot of people don't agree with that, but it is. The blue thread disappeared nearly 2,000 years ago because the murex snail from which the blue dye was extracted became all but extinct. How did that happen? Knowing how important Tallit was to the Jewish people, the Mediterranean Arab countries did not want the Jews to have it. Now, these were not Muslims. There was no Muslim yet. These were just Arabs, Mediterranean Arabs, and they did not want the Jews to have it. So they caught and killed as many of these mollusks as they could. They made it so if you think the Arabs and the Jews have only been not getting along since Israel has been declared a state, boy, you need to learn a lot about history. They never really liked us. We did get along, believe it or not. Believe it or not, we were very close with the people of Iran because they weren't Arabs. They're Persians. But the Arabs we never got along with. It was very difficult. So they didn't want us to have it, so they killed them all, as many as they could. That made it virtually impossible to produce the necessary color in the quantities required by the Torah for people to wear. Because of the lack of color, the original color, the accurate color, only the very rich people could afford it. And the rabbis didn't like that. And to make matters worse, an entire counterfeit industry grew out of this that made faux Tallit thread. And they sold them at high prices. So this was not acceptable. This did not follow Jewish law at all. So the rabbis were forced to rule that white fringes were better than wearing ersatz Tallit. So due to the practicality of the situation, they ruled to stop using the thread of blue altogether. That's been true for a long time, thousands of years. So why do I and a growing number of Jews wear this patil Tallit today? Why? I don't mean just today. I mean in today's world, in modern times. And it's a growing number every day. They're selling more and more and more. Well, this happened when the state of Israel was reestablished. When they reestablished the state, rabbinic scholars and scientists joined together to identify and farm the mollusk snails, that the murex snails that we talked about, to allow the dye to be produced in increasing quantities to lower the cost. And they did. They farmed these things. And they develop them, they grow them, they have so many, and you can go see them in Israel. They have a place to go see them. And the use of the color Tallit is now becoming more popular wherever Jews live. So let me just say this. Color can make a simple piece of paper into a masterpiece. I know Maurice, who is now retired from teaching art, knows this. He himself has done some beautiful work. And color can make a plain room into a magnificent sanctuary. The synagogue that we had was a storefront. When you walked in, you never knew it. It looked like a real sanctuary. Beautiful in there. Color can make a house into a home. Color can change the mundane into inspiration. Color can make a flag something to respect. By the way, what color is the flag of Israel? It's white and an attempt to make Tallit. The star is not Tallit, it's close. Color can define the difference between good and evil. Color can change our mood. And yes, even a 35-year-old mitzvah, 3,500-year-old mitzvah, that commands us to use a unique color on a piece of string still does uh, cause us to be a human being and to become holy. This little string brings holiness to our lives. The Patil Techelet. I got to ask, what's on your Tallit? Shabbat Shalom and Am Yisroel Chai.